So before I get into exactly what this video is going to be about, I wanted to start with some caveats. This video is purely for people who like to draw, sketch, paint, anything that has to do with creativity, whether it's digitally, traditionally, sculpting, all of that's included. The reason that I'm specifying this is because I don't want to come off like I'm trying to be this great artist or sound like this great artist that knows everything. I'm just another person who likes to draw, and I'm hoping that when I speak on these things that you understand that it's from my experiences and you resonate with it. And if you don't, you can give your opinions on it. Secondly, I made my first two videos about mental health because I wanted us to get familiar with how to think as we embark on this journey, because if we neglect that aspect of creativity, if we neglect that mental aspect of creativity, it can lead to burnout and even make you start hating what you create. I was there, so trust me, it's worth taking a look at those videos as we prepare for this long journey for the love of art. I know that it sounds like a shameless plug, but if anyone ever tells me that they want to be an artist, and if anyone ever asks me, yo, like, what should I do to start this journey? I would say start with the mental side of it, because it's one of the most important aspects, in my opinion, when it comes to being someone who wants to engage in anything creatively. Throughout this video, you'll see me drawing three different portraits, and the only reason that you can tell that this will go well is because you've already seen the end product. You've already seen the end result. But the moment that I've got started, I had no idea if I succeed or fail. And when you watch this video, you'll see throughout the whole video that I failed a lot. And every single time I failed, it made me question if art was even for me. Like, I'd get that deep. I'd start thinking to myself, am I wasting my time, or will I ever be good enough? Good enough with quotations needed. And for someone who draws for hours a day, when given the chance, imagine how saying a mean thing or saying these mean things to yourself multiple times a day for hours, how it can impact your outside life. Our brain will get so used to the feeling of self-hate whenever we put pencil to paper, and it's because we taught it to, and we're teaching it to. And it sucks because we don't even realize that we're teaching our brain to do that. And our brain starts to get so hooked on the idea of self-hate that it becomes comfortable. And you feel all these emotions just for putting pencil to paper. And it doesn't have to be that way. Art is just having an idea and finding a means to get it out and put it out into the world. It's an escape. And life gets heavy for a lot of people, and sometimes we need something to make it a little bit easier. But nowhere in the definition of art does it say that you have to be perfect. And I'm saying all of these things because I've been through it and I still go through it. But in the past few months, I've started to feel my brain sort of shift. And I can slowly feel it learning that all I'm doing is trying to escape. And it should be a freeing feeling, not a stressful feeling to draw, to sketch, to paint, to do anything you want to do creatively. It should be a freeing feeling. And doing that constantly a day, it started to help me grow, not only as an artist, but as a person. And it's actually helped me appreciate other people's creativity as well, because when you're in a self-hate mindset, it keeps you thinking about yourself. It keeps us thinking about ourselves. And we can't fathom a world outside of our own brain, that we're so stuck in that mindset that we have to hate ourselves, that we have to hate what we created, that we forget to see that there's a world outside of us that we're missing out on, that we could really be appreciating. And we have to understand that it's always a bigger picture. So, to bring this back to the portraits that I'm drawing, you'll see two things happen. The first is me getting out the idea of what's happening and understanding that I'm going into this not really knowing if I'm going to succeed or not, but just knowing that there's an idea behind it. And understanding that going into something head first without really having the proper knowledge at it and expecting to excel, it's unfair to ourselves. We genuinely have to give ourselves space to fail. Every single time that I failed, I learned exactly what I was doing wrong, and I learned exactly where my idea began to fall short from the truth of the vision. The second is me doing research. It's me confirming or denying whether my idea is true or not by gathering information from reference images or grabbing information from well-sourced books to form my own opinion. Those were the best ways to help me understand what exactly I wanted to do. But you have to understand that even with all the research in the world, you might still fail to capture what you originally intended to do, and that's okay. This is where failure becomes a crucial part of the process. Failure, it's not just a step back, it's a step forward in understanding. It shows the gaps in our knowledge and the limits of our current abilities. And it lets you know exactly what area you need to grow in. And we need to know that each failed attempt is a lesson in what doesn't work, pushing us to explore new techniques, perspectives, and approaches. It's in these moments of failure that we find out our true creative potential. As an artist, embracing failure allows us to push beyond our comfort zone. It challenges us to experiment, to try new things that might not work, and to learn from those experiences. When we fail, we forced to rethink our approach and to question our assumptions and to dig deeper into a creative process. This is where true innovation happens. It's not in the success of it where it happens, but it's in those moments of failure. And in the end, appreciating failure, it's more so about seeing it as a necessary part of our artistic journey. It's about understanding that every mistake is an opportunity to learn, grow, and to get closer to the vision. And the next time you find yourself struggling with a piece, remember that failure, it's not the ending, but it's the beginning. It's the beginning of the deeper understanding of your craft and a step towards creating something that you truly appreciate because you actually took the time out to understand it. So, we're trying to get better at art. I know the first two parts of this video was a little long-winded, but I really do want us to focus on the mental side of drawing before we get into the technical side of it. At the top left of my screen, there's going to be drawings that I've made in the past few years. And although I know for a fact that I'm nowhere near where I want to be or where I dream of being, I do appreciate the fact that I'm not where I started. And I've been in both positions where I've made no progress within a year, and I've made big progress within 2 months. 2 months. And the main culprit for me not making progress was my mental well-being. When I went into art, I wasn't mentally equipped. And it really slowed things down for me and halted a lot of my progress that I could have been making. And it got to a point where art wasn't even fun anymore. It felt more like a chore. And I know now that you can't really work with that mindset. So the way that I figured this out was one day I grabbed my iPad and I started drawing like I always do. But I grabbed it and I started drawing with no expectations. I just went in there to have fun. I zoned out for 5 hours and just appreciated being able to get out of reality for that time. And whatever came out didn't really matter to me. It was the act of doing it that felt good. It felt like I was a kid again, like I was drawing Dragon Ball Z again, and it was a fun experience. And Every single time from then on that I drew, I did the same thing. And I'd listen to all of the mean things my brain would say, and I'd write it down. And what I realized when I wrote it down and read it back to myself was how insanely idiotic these things my brain were saying are. Like, all I'm doing at the end of the day is putting pencil to paper. That's it. Where does my brain get the idea that I don't amount to anything because I'm because I didn't draw it the right way, because it didn't come out the way that I want? Now I'm worth nothing and I'll never be able to amount to anything. Like, those are the crazy things your brain can come up with when you're drawing, whenever you're creating something. And it's like, it's not that serious. It's really bare bones, stripped it down. It's just putting pencil to paper and creating something for the fun of it. The more I do that, the more peaceful zoning in and out of art becomes for me. And I'm saying all of this because we all want to get better at drawing, whether it's for personal reasons or whatever. My reason personally for me is I would love to become a professor. I would love to teach this stuff. I love the technical side of art. I love it. I really do. I love reading books about art. I love everything about it. But for some people, it could just be anime or whatever. But we all have our reasons why we want to get better at it. But regardless of why, we all have one thing in common, and that is our love for it. We love art, and nothing will ever take that away from us. So whenever I made my best improvements, I logged everything. And I logged how I was feeling, how I was thinking, where I was mentally. And I found for me that a surefire way to succeed was me tackling the mental side of it first. And so I created a plan. For 1 month, 5 days out of the week, before we draw, we will write down all of the mean things our brain is saying, or some of it. And we acknowledge the stupidity of it. We take away all of the expectations that we have about what we are going to create. So all these ideas, you got this reference and you're going to create this amazing image, everyone's going to love it. Like no, just grab your reference photo, get an idea of what you want, but don't have an expectation of what it's going to come out like. That's it. And when we go into it, all we care about in that moment is doing something we love. That's it. Nothing else matters. This is going to be really hard for a lot of us because when we draw, it's like all of these emotions and feelings and ideas and thoughts we throw into the piece, and it kind of bogs it down because we have all of these ideas and it's not a clear idea. And that's what I want. I just want us to be more focused about our intentions, which is to do something we love purely because we love it. And once we're done creating it, this is going to be extremely hard for a lot of people. It's still extremely hard for me, but I've definitely mellowed out with it. We're going to post it. We're going to post it on any social media platform. It could be Facebook, Twitter. I'm not calling it X, it's Twitter. Instagram stories. It could be an Instagram post, a reel. It doesn't matter. Just post it. And the reason why I say post it is because it's not enough to tell our brain that it's idiotic. What it's saying, you have to prove that it's idiotic. And the only way to do that is to let other people see what you've created. And let that ego go. Let that pride go of feeling like it has to be perfect. We have to let that go and just appreciate what we did in the moment. You are not less of a human being just because you didn't create a beautiful piece that everybody liked. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. That's just your brain talking crazy. You are still the same person you were before you drew before you drew that image. Well, you could be a better person after you drew that image, but you definitely won't go back. You won't regress, right? You don't need engagement on the piece. You don't need people commenting on it. Don't fish for likes. Don't fish for comments. Don't fish for engagement. The only reason you are posting it is to hear that mental thing, that brain, your brain saying all those crazy things, and prove to it that you don't care. And obviously, I know in the moment we do care. But the more we do this stuff, the more we realize we don't, it doesn't really matter. And it's so much more rewarding because you got to draw something and appreciate it. And a lot of us don't really get to do that. I'll also be posting mine on Instagram and Discord, on my Discord. If you want to join in on that Discord, I'll have it in the description box below. I also stream most Sundays at 2 p.m. on this same channel, and I'll be doing this challenge live with my brother Devin. And trust me, I know life gets hard, and not all of us have the time to draw 5 days a week. That's fine. You can draw for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 40 hours, 30 hours. It doesn't matter. The goal is to just create something and enjoy the act of creating. That's it. And I can't stress this enough. It doesn't matter that it didn't come out beautiful. It doesn't matter that it didn't come out great. Like seriously, like I know how it gets. I know the moment you're about to post it, all of those things start to pile up. Write it down, let it go, post it, and just get off of social media. Don't go back looking for engagement. Don't go back looking for likes. Just get off of social media and enjoy what you just did. And slowly but surely, your brain will become numb to all of the mean things that it's saying, and it starts to get replaced with a lot of nicer things. And I have another challenge that I'm going to be doing that's more about the technical aspects of drawing, but we have to focus on the mental side first and then get into the technical side first. And it'll make creating so much easier, so much more fulfilling. And I want to be a really good artist. I really, really dream of being a great artist in my definition, in my sense of the term. And I know that I have a long way to go. But what I also do know is that I'm not alone in trying to create this. And whoever joins in on this, we'll grow together. It's going to be fun too. There's no pressure to be perfect in this challenge. The only pressure is posting it and trying to teach yourself to have fun doing something that you love, something that we love.